How we doing? How we doing? We're live on YouTube and we're going live on Facebook. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. For me, this is more about faithfulness. We're live on YouTube. It's looking like it's on Facebook. All right. Now we're looking live on Facebook. Cool. But okay. So let's get started. I'm going to open in prayer. Yeshua, thank you for today. Thank you for this foundation talk. I'm just trying to be faithful. Thank you that you've blessed me today. Thank you that I walked into first watch feeling like shit, and I left first watch encouraged with directives, with clear steps to take, and then you helped me along the way in prayer to take those clear steps, and I'm in a place of greater peace and greater joy. That's not how my day started, and you deserve all glory for that. That's because of you. So I thank you and I praise you. Bless my friends, bless my brothers and sisters in Messiah. Call us as your disciples. I pray we would answer that call, that we would hear that call and answer it. And I pray you to equip us through this. I ask in Yeshua's name, amen. Okay, so I have a tendency to be a perfectionist, which means I will overcomplicate things that do not need to be overcomplicated. Okay. And one of the things I said yesterday is, hey, I might break yesterday's talk into 2 parts and start again today, this kind of thing. But I'm not gonna, because I think the purpose of these foundation talks is almost akin to the fact that, let's say that as an apostle, I'm bringing gems, I'm bringing rubies, like a miner. I'm going down. Well, you don't bring up polished gems. You bring up chunks where you know a gem is in it. It's kind of messy. We polish it and clean it up later. Does that make sense? That's probably what's going to happen with this. So that relieves me. It's basically we're less concerned. We're less concerned about the state of this talk, and that makes it good because I can leave yesterday behind. I'll comb through it in the future, and there will be a more structured approach to these the elements that we're discussing in foundation talks. But we're going to continue with baptism. I don't even think I named it right. Or whatever. This is the 5th foundation talk. I'll rename it afterwards. It's the 5th foundation talk about baptism. I've been talking a lot about baptism. I like that you are here today, Jeremy, because you'll be able to be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, so slow down. That'll be good. I enjoy that. So today I actually wanted to talk about baptism and uncleanness. Baptism and uncleanness, and the priests, the Levites, and the lepers. Okay? There's this idea throughout the scriptures, right, that people are unclean. People are unclean. And there's this unique role that water has as a symbol and a substance used in rituals where people will immerse themselves in the water for a kind of cleansing ritual. Okay? This does not actually deal with the inner problem that makes them unclean. It doesn't fix the problem. It functions like a symbol. All it does is clean the outer of a person. It doesn't clean their heart. It doesn't address their conscience. It doesn't address that person inside who's covetous. As a side point, I talked to y'all about Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava, right? And I said they were covetous. I'm just going to put out there that the Torah, okay, the Torah says that at the heart of every human being, man, woman, child, there is a brokenness that starts with covetousness, coveting. Does everyone here know what coveting is? Right, that's awesome. So coveting, this is what coveting is. I'm excited to review here. Coveting is like this, all right? That's your shirt, right? I want it to be my shirt. This should be my shirt. I should have that shirt. Why does he have that shirt? I'm going to take that shirt. It should be mine. Okay? That's coveting. Okay. It's the idea that, well, that's not yours. Right. It's not to you. Do you not have things that are given to you? You're longing and desiring for something that's been given to someone else. You're ignoring your placement, and you're longing for the placement of others. Actually, when people hear the word covet or coveting, I don't know what you guys think. Maybe people think of greed and avarice, and these are true. These are connected to coveting. But I actually think the heart of coveting in the scriptures, we can see the heart of coveting through a simple phrase in English. The grass is greener on the other side. Grass is always greener on the other side. You know that saying? Yeah. What does that mean? The grass is always greener on the other side. We'll never be content. Why? Because we always looking at someone else's grass. We ain't looking at our own grass. Does that make sense? That's coveting. Okay? And actually, do you know what that saying is based on? The saying is based on a deception. When you are far away, okay, the human eye collapses colors together and brings them into more blurry objects, okay? Brings them together and collapses them together. That's what our eye does. I could be right here and the grass is actually patched. And I can see some of the brown in it because I'm right here. But far away, man, that grass over there looks really rich and vibrant and green. But I go over to it, and once I get close to that grass is patchy too. Okay, that's what the human eye does. So you could say this. Technically, you could say that all sin starts with a lie or a deception. Okay? All sin starts with a lie. In this sense, Hasatan, the devil, okay? This is what scriptures mean when they say he's the father of sin. He's the author of it, the beginner of it, the first cause. When he lies, he speaks his native language. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, have you ever, raise your hand if you met someone, okay, that speaks another language other than English? Easy, right? That's your second language. So this is easy, right? Now, I lived in Korea for 13 months, right? My son was born in Korea. I lived in a town called Sangjushi. I would tell people from Seoul, hey, they'd say, where are you stationed? Koreans would say, who spoke English? I'd say, I'm in Sangjushi. Koreans would say, where is that? Now, this is not a place that people speak English. Okay, now the Lord took care of us and He provided people who speak English. But I will tell you this: I can remember what it was like in the street to run into a wegukum. That's a word for foreigner. Okay, when I would run into someone who spoke English who was a foreigner, it would be like, I can speak in English. I can let my hair down. This is so great. We can talk to each other. That kind of relief and that feeling like, I can finally let my hair down and be myself. You know what I'm saying? The devil does that when he lies. Scripture says his native language is lying. When he lies, he speaks his native language. Hasatan can go, this is my talk. Lying. So this is partly why the enemy, God will lay the responsibility of a sinful world. He will in part lay that responsibility at the feet of the enemy. This unseen being who wreaks havoc, who constructs a world and an age that's built on lies. Okay? He's the author of that age. That is true. However, people like the lie. Okay? They hear the lie, and they're the ones who take the lie and run with it and covet. Okay? The lie is the grass is greener on the other side. The lie is the deception that when I'm far away, it looks greener to me. That's a deception. But nobody made me pick up my damn feet and run to the grass on the other side. I did that. I liked the lie. I was the one who was ungrateful for where I was, unthankful for the grass that I had, patchy as it is. Okay? Coveting. The Torah will say that coveting is behind, ultimately it's behind every sin, this deception and this coveting. And it's a constant theme. But one of the things the Torah will link, and when I keep saying Torah, that just means the first 5 books of the Bible. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. They're old Israelites. Okay? A simple way to remember them is the books of Moses. So when I say Torah, I mean the books of Moses. All right. The Torah will say all over the place that covetousness will result in leprosy. Leprosy was an old skin disease. Okay, it's still here. It's called Hansen's disease, is a formal way to define it nowadays. But leprosy is a disease that eats away at our members, eats in our nerves, It will cause loss of sight, loss of hearing, loss of taste, loss of mobility. Okay? It will cause painful sores. It will cause loss of touch and sensation, so you can't feel anymore. That's actually somewhat behind the idea of hardness of heart. People who are hard of heart. I met a woman who used to bathe lepers, a nurse. She would take care of them. And I've heard this woman give testimony where she said, I was bathing a leper. Okay? And while I was bathing the leper, he could not see. He was hunched over and could not see where he was. His toe fell off in the tub and floated behind him. And the leper did not even notice. She had to pick up his toe. The disease so effectively ate all the nerves and took away his sensation and his feeling. For the ancients, leprosy was like death as a disease. Okay? Death as a disease. It's almost like if death could spread from person to person. That's how they would tend to talk about leprosy. That it was death eating them alive. So you end up with this idea that everybody on the earth has been. Hey, Mama, there you go. What's up, Mama?
What's up? Where's your daddy?
We're filming right here.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh! Get him, man. Don't fall off the porch.
House, boy.
Don't fall off the porch.
I got a question.
Ernesto.
And I quoted it last night as a joke, you could say, but it says, "Put to death the flesh,
Yes.
with its desires and its feelings."
Yes.
Like, is there some kind of weird? Is there some kind of not weird, but is there some sort of justice in that? The wage of sin is death. Leprosy is like that the death that comes from sin or something like this as like an image. Is there some sense of justice in that death is the punishment for sin, and leprosy destroys your ability to even feel the death and destruction that is happening.
Yes.
And then your sin is giving into these feelings and these desires,
which makes it worse.
So it itself kills itself in a weird.
Yeah. Which
choice.
is why death is in you. Which is why Paul. So Moses will say about Adam, God says, the day you eat of that fruit, you'll die.
Yeah.
But the Torah says he's 900 something years old. So what do you mean he died the day he ate of it? Well, the day he ate of it, death enters him. Paul will say in Romans, the death in my members. Does that make sense, that phrase?
Yeah.
The sinful members of death. There's death inside me. Death is doing a work in me, eating me alive. Like, this is an apt word because of like COVID-19. You can imagine that this is kind of a picture of leprosy or death. This idea that this contagion, this thing gets inside me. It starts to eat me up. Okay? But instead of COVID-19, it's death. That's how they would think of it. And there was something else I was going to say too. That, by the way, that is in line with coveting. That's why Paul says that. In Hebrew, the word to covet, it really means to just intensely desire a thing, basically. Okay? In context, it means to desire something you don't have. But it really is just strong urges or strong desire. Okay? People are drawn away by their strong desires. And they're drawn away in part because there is a lie. If this strong desire is met, I will be fulfilled. If this strong desire is achieved, I will achieve happiness, stability, pleasure, a level head, peace, chillness, whatever. There's all kinds of things people go after. So yeah, that I would connect that to coveting, which is, by the way, in Romans, Tony, because I know you're trying to be in Paul. In Romans, Paul will say, I did not know. There was a time where I was alive before sin sprang to life in me and birthed death. There was a time I was alive, but you know what brought death in me? I found that when I saw the commandment, I found that when I heard the commandment that God gave, in that moment that I heard the commandment, sin kind of piggybacked on the commandment, jumped onto me and started eating me and consuming me. And what commandment does Paul quote? I did not know it was a sin until the Lord told me, do not covet. He actually sticks to that command, do not covet. Coveting is a weird command. Okay? Because if you ask people, hey, you a good person? People will say, yeah, I'm a good person. I'm pretty good, right? Most people don't know the Ten Commandments, but they think the Ten Commandments are basically being kept by them. All right? The 10th commandment, I'm going to get you in engage with this. What's the 10th commandment? Do not covet. And what's our phrase that we use to help each other into that with our hands? Yeah, don't say gimme, gimme, gimme. Just do not covet. Don't say gimme, gimme, gimme. Now here's what's funny. The first command is very literal. Do not put other gods on my face. That means, I know when that's happening because Yahweh lives in a temple and other people put idols there, right? 2, I can see with my eyes when that is being done. 2, don't make idols. Don't make images. I can see with my eyes when that is being done. Don't take Yahweh's name in vain. I can hear with my ears whether that's being done. Keep Shabbat holy. Keep Sabbath holy. You know Sabbath?
Yeah, that's what you explained with it's Friday evening on.
That's right. That's exactly right. 7th day. The 7th day. It took God 7 days to make the world. The 7th day especially you rested. Sabbath, the rest. Okay? Keep Shabbat holy. I can tell with my eyes and my ears whether or not you are keeping Sabbath. I can see whether you're working or not. Okay? Make your mom and dad heavy. I can hear in your speech whether or not you insulted mom and dad, whether you honor them or dishonor them. Okay? Don't throw grenades. Do not kill. I know with my eyes and my ears whether someone got killed. Adultery. I have evidence and can tell when adultery is committed. Yeah. Sure, all of these commandments can be broken in secret, but the point is this is my point. A good question, Gideon. So I'll make it clear like this. If someone does the sin in front of me, I see it, right? You tracking with me? So far, we're up to 7 for all of them. If someone commits adultery in front of me, I see it. Does that make sense? 8th commandment. What is it? Do you get their thumbs cut off? Do not steal. Do not steal. Okay? I see when someone steals in front of me. Okay? I don't know if the Torah demands it. There may be some kind of demand in the Torah about for some thieves who are repeat offenders. Yes. And then the 9th commandment. Don't hide the one thing you don't want people to know. If I know, like literally, I can see the lie if I have access to the evidence they're changing, right? The 10th commandment is strange. It's not like the other 9. I will never see the command being broken that says, do not covet. It's a desire. It's a feeling. The location of that sin is inside the heart. So when somebody says, I'm basically a good person, great. Do you want to be judged according to the 10 commandments? Because even if you somehow manage to get to the first 9, which nobody can, I know damn well you're going to fail at the 10th. Because I know you looked at a woman that was someone else's wife and you said, I want that. I know that you've looked at property someone else had and said, that should be mine. I want to have that in my pocket. Right? And actually, coveting becomes, again, the wellspring of sin. Because can I steal? It is possible to steal without coveting. Like there are those. People are like, I'm going to give a shit, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? There are people like that. But in general, can I steal without coveting? No, I desire it first. That's why I stole. Can I steal? Can I murder without strong, intense desire? Okay, this person should die. This is the way it should be. I need this, whatever. It's a little, you can, right? Those are there. Again, we have people who are incredibly broken. They kill without any kind of emotion. Okay? But for the most part, intense desire to reshape reality according to the lie that I'm entertaining lies behind all sin. Humans are unclean. They're a source of uncleanness in regards to this because all of us are infected with sin. The same way people trying to hide from each other with COVID-19 and wear a mask, we're all infected with sin. Yeah.
So then, in like a weird way, the 10 commandments seem like they're going in the direction of like they are addressing things all the way from Yahweh's place to your innermost being. Like
They are.
order in a weird way.
They are. I know. Which is why
it's like forced transitions from God's rules to you.
Exactly. Well,
And
four is
that's where
shared.
y'all come together.
Four is shared. You're exactly
That's
right.
what I mean. They touch point. And then it's like, here's how you externally deal with these people who know you first, your parents. Here's how you externally deal with the person who you are about to be married to. Then here's how you selfishly take
that on person. Next word will be brother.
Brother. So then brother. And then
Yeah.
And then
Really good
you
call.
stealing from them. And then
That's more
it's
like
like he stops at 10 and he's like, even this desire that lurks in you, all the way to here.
Yes.
That's like the last.
Yes.
That's like, that covers almost everything else. That's like.
So Yahweh, the God of Israel, whenever I say Yahweh, you know what I mean, Jeremy, when I say Yahweh? It's the old school name that God gave himself when he talked to the dude Moses. So he was talking to the dude Moses, he said, my name is I am that I am. I will be who I will be. In Hebrew, we say that as Yahweh. It's Yahweh. This is God's name. What Moses called God.
Literally, how do you say that?
It's a shortened form. He is that he is. No one knows how to pronounce it, by the way. Yahweh is just a shortened way for people to say it. That's not the correct
I
pronunciation.
never know it was a name.
It was a name. People have forgotten how to pronounce it. That's a separate combo. But Yahweh, where's I going with this?
Working backwards.
Yeah, Tony was talking about working backwards. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to look at it, and you should meditate on that and think about it. There is this. All right. This is partly what I mean when I say the perfectly wise person will still descend in the shell. A dude who's perfectly wise will still die. Wisdom is not enough. Okay? Wisdom is about winning. Wisdom is like, you ever played a video game like Running Man? The Temple Run? Just endless running, you know what I'm saying? The perfectly wise person, death still gets them. Okay? They might get the highest score. Okay? The fool gets a very low score. The wise person gets a very high score. But who really gives a shit? Because they both die. What I just gave you is Ecclesiastes, okay, by the way. That's what Ecclesiastes said. What's the difference between the wise person and the fool? They both die. And that's true. Death is at work in us, and it will reach its goal. It will devour us. We can speed that along by yielding to it. We can try to fight it, but it will still win. It will still win. Death, believe it or not, death itself is the opposite of Yahweh, the opposite of God. Death is the opposite of God. God is called the living God. God is called life itself. God is the source of life. Those who die are without God. They're without hope. They're without life. I don't want to take the conversation in too confusing of a direction for you, Jeremy, but I will quickly do an aside to help some of these guys who are more familiar with this. This might seem like, well, what the hell is this guy talking about certain points? That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to talk about 3 categories of people. All right? 3 categories of people. The priests, the Levites, and lepers. Priests, Levites, and lepers. Before all of them can take on more holiness, they have to be baptized. We're talking about baptism. Before they are able to take hold of, enter into a place that's holy, whenever I say the word holy, all that means is clean. It starts to make really, it's very simple. If I'm covered in mud, I can't go into the pearly white house until I'm washed off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I got to get clean. Immersion in water is addressing that issue. It's a symbol that I am filthy. Okay? For a priest to go into a more holy place, which is the tent, they have to be fully immersed to become a priest. Often they fully immerse for certain rituals in the tent. Before Levites can go into the sacred space of the courtyard and touch certain things, they have to be baptized and immersed. Before a leper can return to Israel and return to the camp of God where God is, they have to be baptized and cleansed. Okay? So these 3 categories of people all have to be baptized. And what do they have in common? What they have in common is their immersion in water. They go down one way, unclean, and they come up ready to step into greater holiness. Okay? So we'll start like this. The leper goes down unclean, declared unclean, comes up cleansed, okay, the waters are cleansing, they're able to step up into the camp, which is a level of greater holiness. The Levite, they have to immerse themselves in water, and when they come up, they're able to step into the courtyard, a greater level of holiness. The priests have to immerse themselves in water, and when they go down that level of uncleanness, unfit, they come up fit and ready to step up the level of holiness. And the high priests, finally, they too are immersed in water. Okay, so water baptism, water immersion is a constant ritual. Various washings and cleansings is a constant ritual for Israel. Not only this, anything that can make anybody in Israel unclean, in order to overcome it, they have to be immersed in water. Okay? And then they have to wait until sundown. Then they immerse in water and they come up renewed, clean. So this idea of immersion is all throughout the Torah. It is a foundational element. When I say foundation, I mean, like I said yesterday, if your building is lacking it, all it takes is the right wind or the wrong wind, depending on how you define it, and that house collapses. Foundation is essential. It's the first layer that has to be built and laid to prepare to support the structure that comes after. If you are lazy with foundation, be prepared for the roof to fall on your head. There is a direct relationship between foundation and the roof, even though they seem so far from each other. So those who are familiar with that, did y'all track with what I said there with the Lepers, the Levites, the priests? Yeah? Okay, cool. I kind of want to return and keep it. I want to make it more simple and practical. So let's talk about some of the weird, there's just these really weird similarities. I'm going to give you some weird similarities in the Torah between the Levite, between the leper, and between a pagan woman who gets taken as a wife by an Israelite man. These are very strange concepts, but there's a weird connection in the Torah. You know what the connection is? All three of them have to shave all the hair, I mean all of it, off of their body, be immersed in water, and then they come up and they can step into cleanness. Is that weird? It's a little weird, but it's connected to all of them. It's connected to all of them. Why? What could this possibly show us? What could this possibly point to if it's a symbol? Okay.
Why do they have to shave their head?
Thank you. All right. Good question. What comes out of watery liquid, typically with no hair whatsoever, and brand new skin?
Oh,
Babies. It becomes this ritual that says, you are not the old you. You have been born again. The language of being born again is all throughout the Torah. This idea of starting over, getting a fresh start. Because somebody raise their hand if they've ever wanted a fresh start, wanted to start over. You can do that. Baptism is the way to start over. Baptism is the way, okay? And like I've been instructed, not baptism with water. Baptism with water will make you cold and make your clothes wet, okay? And you will still be just as evil when you went down in that water and came up. No change there. That's true for the Israelites as well. None of their cleansing, none of their actions dealt with this inner person that nobody could see. Never touched the covenant. Right? There were two dudes who are central to the Gospels. We know the most central dude to the Gospel. Who is it? Yeshua. That's one dude.
Nice, dude.
You got it. Who is the
church fire American Eagles?
Who's the other dude?
red, white, blue.
Huh?
John the Baptist.
Yeah, you're right. John the Baptist. John the Baptist. Don't take that from Gideon, Tony.
This is John the Baptist.
All right. So John the Baptist and Yeshua. Okay. What do they have in common? What do John the Baptist and Yeshua have in common? They're cousins. That's true. They actually are cousins. That's true. They're Hebrew.
They're both priests.
Did an angel announce their birth?
Oh yeah.
Both of them, right?
Right.
They got some weird stuff coming. Hey, are both of them destined to die? Unjustly?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yes.
not familiar with John's.
They are.
prophecies.
Yeah, Yeshua knows he has to be beheaded. The way they treated him, he has to be treated horribly. He has to be killed. Absolutely.
Does John know that?
That he's going to be ended. The scriptures don't tell us whether John knows in the moment he's in the prison whether it'll happen. But John is a prophet. So I suspect, yes, Yahweh revealed to John, you will die. And I suspect he went willingly. He was
No, I've
bold.
been wondering, it's like, is this the guy? This is the guy, right?
Well, one of his problems was Yeshua, in his eyes, Yeshua was too soft.
And John.
John's eyes, Yeshua was too soft. John's reading Malachi 3. Malachi 3. Yahweh is going to show up, y'all. He's going to come. You know what he's going to cleanse you with? He's not going to spray you with hand sanitizer. He's going to spray you with fire. He's going to purge you like metal. And if you survive, you'll be his people. And if you don't, then you don't. That was John's message.
Fire wizard.
So now,
Fireball.
so then John sees Yeshua. Yeshua, this seemingly boring Jewish son of who hangs out with tax collectors and whores, who goes around healing people, restoring sight, restoring deafness, restoring the ability to walk, doing these kinds of things. Is any of the stuff I'm saying starting to sound like destroying things? Do you destroy things by restoring? Not typically. Okay? There is this idea, there's this expectation. What is going on with this guy? Which is why I asked, are you the one that we should expect or someone else? Because he doesn't match up to the immediate pervert expectation. When Yahweh comes, he's going to come in a blaze of fire. No, that's not what the scriptures say. The scriptures say first he will come as a suffering servant. Okay? Which is what Yeshua did. But let's talk about this. What do these guys have in common? Well, here's what they have in common that's very simple. They have the same job. John the Baptist and Yeshua have the same job. One job is a shadow, which is the old covenant. The other job is the substance. Okay? When I say shadow and substance, do you know what I'm talking about? All right. It's sunny, really bright. It's overcast. So it's a pretty crappy place to try to see a shadow.
Over there, maybe.
Jeremy's shadow.
Right here.
There you go.
All right? My hand. You can see I'm off camera. Or right here. You can see my shadow, right? You see my hand? All right. I am the substance. The shadow in the form of what I am that comes from a light source, right? So the shadow and me are connected. But definitely you would not confuse me for the shadow, would you? But you would also say there is a relationship between me and the shadow, right? Like you look at the shadow and it don't look like Barney. It looks like a lanky person with a big beard, right? There is a relationship. If all you had was my shadow, you could learn some things about me, right? Yeah. Right? But not really a whole lot otherwise. That's the covenant that Yahweh gave to Moses. The covenant Yahweh gave to Moshe, it was a shadow. You could find out about God, his contours, his outlines, this kind of thing. But we didn't really get to see the substance of God until Yeshua arrived. And we're still having that revealed. But here's the point. John and Yeshua, they had the same job. Both of them were supposed to dunk you and bring you up after dunking you. Yeah. One was going to dunk you in water and bring you up. That was John. John went around dunking people in water. Okay? Like a priest. John was in the priestly line, and he was a prophet. Dunking people in water. Dunking people in water. Okay? Yeshua didn't dunk anybody in water. Yeshua said, I'm going to dunk you in the Holy Spirit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you feel me?
He's not the shadow.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. I'm not going to dunk you in water. I'm going to dunk you in the Holy Spirit. Okay? So, that's what Yeshua's dunking does. Yeshua's baptism. That's what I mean when I say baptism. Baptism is, I don't know why they do this with this word. They carry it straight from the Greek. Baptizo, it means to immerse someone in water. Dunk in the water. That's it. When I say baptism, I mean dunk you in water, okay? Or some kind of liquid. Dunk on them, not dunk on them.
Man, don't on.
Yeah.
John the Baptist, and one.
She was like, I see you.
And
Cross.
In the heavens and dunk on them. Let me jump.
Yeah, man.
10 days later. Bam! All right, so yeah, that's actually a ridiculous depiction of the ascension and baptism of Yeshua. So Yeshua came to bring a baptism. But the funny thing is it didn't matter how important your job was. It didn't matter if you were just trying to return to Israel and you were a leper. If you were just trying to carry all this stuff and you were a Levite. If you were trying to bring in the holy things, the incense, you were a priest. Or you were trying to bring the most precious thing possible into the Holy of Holies and you're a high priest. None of those dunkings in water dealt with how evil your heart was. None of those dunking in covetousness. Which is why God is saying, I'm sending my son. He will dunk the inside you in the water of his spirit. Because you dirty. You can take a shower and you can clean off on the outside, but you're still dirty. Unless my son dunks you. If my son dunks you, you're clean. You're good to go. Okay? Unless my son baptizes you, you ain't coming in. All right? And so the real baptism we seek is the baptism of the conscience, the baptism of the heart through the Holy Spirit. Really the baptism of the conscience through the Holy Spirit. How does that happen? Well, it's very similar. It's very similar. That's your question. Let's see. Make sure nobody's got comments here. Emily, they both baptized? Yeah, Emily jumping in. What they got in common? Yeah. They both baptized. That's Tony's wife. Get in there. Get in the game. You're a little late. Sorry, I didn't have YouTube up. I guess people are more apt to read. Here's the way that works. You are led to a body of water, and the person with the appropriate authority dumps you and brings you up. Which is weird. Because, by the way, the one who dunks you needs to be authoritative, right? Okay? This is where we also get the idea of, not directly with baptism, but there is a connection. I'm showing you a connection between baptism and the laying on of hands. When you hear the phrase, the laying on of hands in Hebrews, that's a foundational element, remember? Hebrews tells us, can we leave these issues of foundation? Repentance, turning from dead works, faithfulness, baptisms and various washings, and the laying on of hands. Can we leave these things and move on to more meaty things, more mature things? These are foundational ideas. So what ends up happening is the person with the right authority takes you, dunks you in the water, takes you out of the water, and you're renewed. Yeshua is the one dunking us, but as weird as it sounds, because Yeshua is a life-giving spirit, that tomb is empty. So that dead Jew is not alive. That dead Jew is not alive. He is reigning as king and Messiah. New guy. Will Ellie and Clay be watching with y'all? Some dude named New Guy. Ellie and Clay watching. Hey, y'all. Got you. Sorry. Will Ellie and Clay watch? See, man, Will, your name is like a question. Will Ellie and Clay watching with y'all? All right, got you. Will Ellie and Clay are watching. Awesome.
Someone spoke it.
So that's what happened for the high priest. That's what happened for the priests. That's what happened. Moshe actually had to do it. Right? So there's this idea of you're getting cleansed, but it's not dealing with the inner person. Yeshua sees your inner person. He loves you as you are. Yeshua is the only person I've ever met who will truly love you, knowing you are evil. The only person. It's him and those that he possesses with his spirit. And to me, that's still basically just him. Okay? He will love you knowing you are evil. No one else will do that. Which is why humans hide from each other. We hide from each other. Here's a way to show that we all know that we hide from each other. Yeah, that's it. Now they're ripping on me. I'm not going to read when y'all rip on me, though.
You don't got a mic.
Someone else can jump on the comments, try to figure that out. And they ain't going to do it either.
No.
But, yeah, that's a damn job. All right. What did I say before this?
This is how we can know if that we all hide from one another.
Yeah, this is how we know we can all hide from one another. Let's imagine our thoughts. Let's actually reveal our coveting too, our desires. I got a machine. We pretending right now. All right, y'all, we're pretending. I don't have a machine, but we gonna pretend I have a machine. All right, the machine's right here. I'm gonna hook you up to this machine, and after I hook you up to this machine, it's gonna project onto a big screen every single sound that passed through your mind in the last 72 hours. And we're going to invite everyone you love, respect, and care about into the room to watch the screen. You want to be there when that happens? Exactly. Guess what? You ain't alone. We all evil. People pretend they're good. But they themselves know that what goes on inside them, they do not want to be seen. You ever heard the phrase in English, I don't want to be seen with that person? Okay? All of us don't want to be seen with ourselves when it comes to what's going on inside. We want to distance ourselves. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay? Can't distance ourselves from ourselves. We're the problem. And another way to know this, who you are alone in the dark at 2 a.m., that's who you really are. Who you are alone at 2 a.m. in the dark, though, is not who you present to other people when you go out in the world. When you go to your job, when you talk to people, even family members. Okay? We are all master deceivers. We all hide from each other. Nobody ever told us. I bet you money, nobody ever sat you down and said, now, son or daughter, you need to hide the most intimate parts of who you are and what you think about nobody. You know, nobody taught us that. We learned that one on our own. We hid. Right? We're all ashamed. We're all broken by sin. If we're honest with ourselves, we can see that sin has really messed us up. And we know that we're a part of the problem, but we keep feeding it. Yeshua sees somebody in that state and says, I see all of it. I don't just see the outside of you. I can see into you. I see your heart. I know your heart. I know your conscience. I know you are dirty. It's not a surprise. And guess what? I love you. He will look at that shit inside of us and say, I see it all, and I love you. He says, not only do I see it, I will come down and live in it. And the very act of me coming to live inside you is a washing and a baptism, and you getting dunked. But you're going to be dunked in me, is what Yeshua says. You will be dunked in the spirit of Yeshua. He will cleanse you. When somebody actually gets dunked in the spirit of Yeshua, their thoughts begin to change. Their habits start to be challenged. Their steps, there starts to be a struggle where there wasn't a struggle before. Changes happen. No one can truly be dunked in the spirit of Yeshua and not start to undergo change. The same way that the Spirit always accomplishes powerful work, the same way that the word that God sends will not return to God without doing that work that it was sent to do. That's Isaiah 55. And Yeshua is that powerful wind that's the Spirit, and Yeshua is also the Word. Okay? It's a weird thought, but I want you to imagine that. Oh, okay, that's a cool picture. That's a cool picture for baptism. Let's talk about baptism as rescuing you. Let's talk about baptism as rescuing you from your own heart. Let's talk about Psalm 62, I believe, that says, your heart is dark waters. Who has ever been on a boat on really dark, murky waters over deep, dark waters? Anybody ever been in that situation? Who likes that feeling when they look over the edge and stare into that dark water? Nobody! And actually, most humans will have, I think, a kind of psychological response, which is a flash of terror. Now, it won't last long, but it'll be something like similar to what humans experience when they see a very large animal. This is a weird thing. A lot of us grow up in places like suburbs. You never experienced a large animal.
You see a big spider fall?
Yeah, well, a big spider is different because it moves. I mean like a gigantic animal. There's literally an effect. There's an effect. People who hunt moose, and if you've ever been to Africa and you get to actually see an animal up close, like a water buffalo, or an elephant, okay? There is a glitch that happens this thing is huge, right? That's that feeling people get, except with terror, when they look over the dark waters. Because they know, they have no idea what's underneath it. They don't know what lurks underneath it. So let's imagine this. All of us are submerged in the drowned dark waters of our heart. And who you are is drowning in the dark waters of your heart. And what does Yeshua do? Yeshua, who is the Word, Yeshua, who is the Spirit, he comes, and just like the Spirit did in the beginning of creation. The word for Spirit in Hebrew is wind. That wind begins to blow. What happens to those waters? They start to part. Right? And then he comes with that word and he says, take my hand. I'm going to pull you up. You're a new creation. And he rescues you from your own heart. Okay? Rescues you from the dark waters. That's my mom. Rescues you from the dark waters of your own heart. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Love you, Mama. Bless you.
Shabbat shalom,
Love you.
guys.
Shabbat shalom.
Isaiah 55:11 is not necessarily talking about baptism. It is talking about elements that are related, like sending the storm and the rain, and God gives his word and accomplishes what he wants. So there are similar pictures there, and that's what I correlated that baptism, but I'm actually combining different elements to try to see a metaphor that helps us see baptism as rescue. And the baptism as rescue concept is in Psalm 18. Psalm 18 is written by King David, and David says, the waters are up to my neck, the waters of Sheol are drowning me. And Yahweh comes down in powerful form on the clouds in glory, and snatches him out of the water. That's a way to describe what happened to Yeshua. Okay? Through the Spirit. We got another way to describe baptism. But here's what I'm going to say. We're all drowning in our own heart. It just takes like 80 years to die. It takes 80 years for it to finally do its thing. But we're all drowning. We're all drowning in our own heart. Yeshua comes in the form of the Spirit, parts those waters, and rescues you. And seats you in a position with him. Puts you above the waters. He's the one who can walk on the water. Which is why we keep our eyes on him, like Peter. If you don't keep your eyes on Yeshua, you will drown. If you don't keep your eyes on Yeshua, you will drown in the waters of your own heart. And there's this famous story. Yeshua does this big miracle, okay? And he feeds them. He feeds thousands of people. He does this like twice, I think. 4,000 and 5,000 people. And actually, just 4,000 men, 5,000 men, probably more women and children. Could be as many as 15,000. But he feeds a shit ton of people, okay? You can't imagine poor people who are getting fed, who are in the nation of Israel, might say, I'm starting to like this Yeshua dude. He should be king. He could just give us food. All right? He should be king. And actually, that's what they intend to do. They say, let's forcibly make him king. Let's forcibly make him king. What does he do? He runs off. He flees from being made king the way they want to make him king. He's going to be made king the way his father's going to make him king. He's going to be made king by being stripped naked and having his beard pulled out and spit on and beaten and nailed to a cross. That's how he's going to be lifted up and exalted. Those are his steps to kingship. That's his coronation. That's his baptism. Okay? They want to force him in the kingdom, and he hides away. Now the other disciples, or the other disciples, which are the apostles, they get into a boat. A lot of these guys are fishermen. They got boats. Okay? So they get in these boats, and they go across the Sea of Galilee. Pretty big sea. Big enough that swells and storms can develop over it. Okay? One such swell, a big-ass storm, develops on the waters. And this boat starts to rock, really scary, this kind of thing. And they see something on the boat. They think it's a ghost. The scriptures say they thought it was. They start freaking out. Someone's walking on the water. No, I'm not crazy. Look, look. And they all look. They see, and the figure's approaching. Something's walking on the water. Okay. It gets close enough, and it's Yeshua. But they're not really sure. Again, visibility is low. Have you ever been on the water in the middle of a storm? Okay. I've not been on deep water, but I have been on the Stono River on a jet ski in the middle of a storm. Okay, where it was pouring. It was awesome. It did not suck. It was killer. It was killer. Actually, I was even stupider. I had Gideon with me. He was little. But here, I was on this jet ski, and what was incredible was the waters were, the droplets, this is not a light storm, it was heavy, and the water was like, it was like rocks all around, raining and hitting the water. It reduced visibility. It was hard to see, okay? But this storm was dark. It was toward the end of the day, I think, when they got in the boat. So it was darker, visibility was low, water's crashing, there are waves, okay? Because this is a deeper body of water than just the Stono River. These guys can't see clearly. And Yeshua says, it's me, don't be afraid. What does Peter do?
Lord, if it's you, let me call me out, Peter.
Yeah. He says, if it's really you, Yeshua, Rabbi, tell me to walk out to you. I don't know what the hell entered Peter's head. I love Peter for this. But he says that. What does Yeshua say? No. Only I can do great things. He doesn't say that. And Peter goes out on the waves. He steps out. And he's a fisherman. So he has seen storms and swells before. He has bearings compared to other men. He steps out on the water. He never walked on the water before, though. He starts to walk over clearly. So he's still a distant figure. You can imagine something like 50 yards out. Peter starts walking towards the figure, and the figure's fine as long as he's got his eyes on it, but the boat starts to get smaller. And the waves, he starts looking at the waves, and then when he starts looking around at this situation, he's between the boat and the figure, he starts losing his mind. He's like, oh God, what's going on? And he starts to sink. And Peter prays the best and shortest prayer in the Bible. Yeshua, save me! Or Yeshua, help! Okay. And Yeshua walks up to him, still in the water, takes his hand, pulls him up, walks him back on the water, gets him on the boat, and says, you have little faith. Why did you start looking at the waves? Why did you start looking away from me? That's what happens to you guys. When you encounter Yeshua, you receive him, he's in your heart. You can imagine that story actually is your life. It's this little parable, this living version of your life. Some people have never heard the voice of Yeshua that says, come to me, and they're just drowning. They're just drowning in the waters of their heart. But when someone brings the gospel to them, they hear the message of Yeshua. You know what the word for church is in Greek? Ecclesia. It's a noun from the verb ekkaleo. Ek means out, kaleo means to call, the called out ones. Come out to me. Come to me. Ekkaleo, or the word for church, ecclesia. It's actually the same word I think in Spanish keeps that attack. Ecclesia. Same thing. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. We got a comment. When you are baptized, it's a rescue reclamation from the darkness of your heart. What do you think Yeshua sees the stumbling as if we were baptized by him, but continue to mess up or sin? Okay, I don't know. You probably gave that comment. It looks like you gave that comment before I gave the story about Peter. And I would say this. When we mess up in sin, that's when we take our eyes off of our master and we start to feel like we sink. That's our perception. We start to feel like, oh no, I'm not safe. And we can't continue steadfastly in it. Okay? But that would be like violating the command in Hebrews. Fix your eyes on the author and perfecter of your faithfulness, Yeshua. Fix your eyes on Yeshua. Okay? So there is this, I've addressed a lot of different issues. And actually let's see our time. We're at about an hour. I don't want to extend it too much farther. There's more we could say about this. But we understand that this is what's cool about Yeshua. He does cleanse the inside person that we hide from people. And he descends into that heart. And you are new creation. A lot of times when we hear the phrase new creation, by the way, we think a new human being, which is partly true. That's a metaphor. But actually, when Paul talks about new creation, he'll tend to talk about creation of the cosmos itself. So you're like day 1. You're like day 2. You're like day 3. of the creation story. You yourself are like a new cosmos. Okay? That's actually an interesting way to read it. There's a weird, I'm not going to try to throw too many people off. There's a weird Talmudic, rabbinic tradition that says to kill one man, the reason that murder is a sin that leads to destruction and death and is so heinous is because to kill one man is to kill an olam, to kill an entire universe. Because when you kill one man, you kill that man and his seed, and all the children and their children and their children and their children are killed with this man. Yeah.
Or like a new cosmos. Is that like Psalm 84, verse 7?
Explain.
Like, when you said it's a new cosmos, like there's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. Is that like in Psalm 84, verse 7, when it says like, it gives you strength?
Like from day to day to day, each new work. That's an interesting read. So Gideon's asking if in Psalm 84, verse 7, where it says the pilgrims who are moving in the valley of Bacha, they go from strength to strength. They make the ground into pools of water, and they go from strength to strength. And he says, is that like going from day to day, each new good work, from strength to strength? You could reading the text, but it would hold it. I'd say yes, it would hold it intact. You could read it that way. Typically, I think what the pilgrims would mean is they go from out. I don't know this, but I suspect they go from outpost to outpost or something. Maybe shrine to shrine, holy site to holy site, something like this. I don't know. But that's an interesting read. Are there other questions? No? Okay. No questions, no thoughts. All right, cool. I'm pray. Yeshua, thank you for blessing Foundation Talk. Thank you that it went as well as it did today. I praise you for every conscience that's here. Thank you, Yeshua, that when I was just a 10-year-old boy, you called out to me. When I was a 10-year-old boy, you entered into the dark waters of my heart, and you called me to yourself. I'm 32. I'm still coming to you. I'm still walking close to you. I'm still getting closer. What would have happened if Peter would have made it all the way to you? What would have happened if Peter would have made it all the way to you? Maybe it's like what James says. He'd be the perfect one who muzzles his tongue or something like this, who does no wrong. But I'm making it to you because you were calling me, and you were empowering me, and you are proving that you are faithful, and you are able to keep my steps firm on the water. There is no less firm place to walk in this world than water. That you make my footsteps firm in the middle of the water. You are faithful. Lord, and you rescue me from the dark waters of my own heart. I don't have to listen to my insecurities. I don't have to listen to my fears. I don't have to listen to my self-hatred and my self-loathing and my anger at myself and my self-belittling and my shame and my guilt. You have called me out of all these things. And you help me to walk on the surface of it victoriously, and they don't drown me. They drown other people. Thank you that you are the rescuer, Yeshua. Rescue us. Bring us into the Holy of Holies. Cleanse us, High Priest Yeshua. In the order of Melchizedek, cleanse us and bring us into the Holy of Holies through baptism. We love you and we worship you. Thank you. In Yeshua's name, amen. All right.